anyone who's got a camera, anyone that's got the app Periscope has a chance to join in and make the Isle of Man a record breaker. The idea is to get more people periscoping from the Isle of Man between 10 and 1 o'clock today than anywhere else in the world.
A tram has overturned at the start of the Laxey to Ramsey line. Obviously the line has been closed, although trams are still operating up to the mountain.
There was things going on in his private life that were causing problems, and for personal reasons he's had to leave the department. So I think really that's all we can say on the topic, Paul.
This is the site of the old hospital, isn't it?
Correct. At the minute we turn round to my right, we can see the crane coming on, which is erecting the new hall, administration block.
Yes, the Body Shop was one of our first shops to open 25 years ago when the Strand opened, and unfortunately their lease comes to fruition in September this year, and sadly Body Shop have told us that they won't actually be renewing their lease.
But most importantly of all, whatever reasons we have, the vast majority of people on the Isle of Man just don't want the horse trams on the walkway.
Well, this morning is the big sort of opening festival, and the stadium behind us has all the different people going in.
The original aim was to have a community hub here, and the post office was part of it.
Now, because it's a hot potato, Douglas, and the way it's going to look, I mean, obviously you must have horse trams in there somewhere, right?
In this one we've actually replaced it with electric trams.
Oh, have you?
It is a long-term plan. It's looking towards 2050.
We've got 3 pelican crossings and a variety of zebra crossings.
More or less than that?
Length. I think there's actually slightly more controlled crossing spaces along the whole of the promenade.
Why do you really want it?
It's iconic, look at it. If we've got something like this, it almost acts as an image to remind people that you must look after the beach.
I have always wanted to use the space for maybe a theatre production. We used to come and play up here as kids, and I used to hear stories about it being used by my grandma and granddad, and I've always kind of wanted to use it.
This is my third attempt.
Third attempt.
I hate to say third time lucky, but it was lucky this time.
Hanson Leslie Lucas Alfred, 616 votes. Hardman Penelope Ann, 325 votes. Palmer Raymond Carl, 799 votes. Pownell David Anthony, 30 votes.
Yes, the sewage pipe from the storage tanks just along the promenade there, it runs out under the jetty behind us here to a point off the breakwater where it discharges into the sea.
The horse trams have been controversial for many, many years. I would like to think that they haven't had their day.
To be honest, it actually does bring a tear to my eye. I can get quite emotional about this building, and no, I'm so pleased on how it's come along, and I'm so pleased on how it's looking. It's fantastic.
What makes it Manx is that the unique characteristics of what makes Bifrost special all take place here on the island.
Well, a leak has been found just a short way from here, and it's about an inch in width, and basically we now need divers to go in and investigate and fix the problem.
Today we're consulting on the first phase of development, which is for 35 affordable units.
We've had a letter to say that our bid was accepted with all of the others, but it was not the highest, therefore we didn't get it.
Specifically, we want to know what people's experiences are in terms of travelling, but also we want to know what they actually want.
Well, in the first instance, what we've done, now that we've unboxed it and we've got it in its display cradle so that we can have a good look at it, that's exactly what we're going to do.
And now, of course, we've got government talking about yet another report into a national strategy for the coastline, which is fine. You know, I can go along with this and I'm prepared to support government on that. But there is a time in Kirkmichael when you've got to stop talking and start implementing.
We had free rein to a certain extent, but it's for various different reasons I've ended up with a dragon.
The charity that has been existing for 31 years, and all of the money is raised by sponsorship and by members.
the deer was actually excavated to order by a group that was constituted called the Giant Deer Committee in the late 19th century, and it was discovered, dug up, mounted and displayed all within about 3 or 5 years.
We've listened to the people of Ramsey to try and deal with some of their concerns regarding the spa store. So hopefully we can make some few changes in there so that access and layout will be different.
All we're really looking at with Manx Tidal Energy is to lease the seabed and for them to then sell the energy.
But effectively all the turbines will be underwater all of the time, so none of this fantastic area will have any kind of turbine sticking out at all.
Well, hopefully the building will be used for a community hub.
It says 1597 on this clock face, of course, with just the one hand. Although, Simon, this is not as old as it appears.
If you look on the back of their clock, it's written 1980, so it's been up here 35 years.
But I mean, even in your forward, I mean, you say that the health service people want to deliver a better, more efficient service, integrating health and social care. Integrating comes through all this.
Yeah.
And their intentions are good, but their progress is patchy. And there's still a long way from achieving a seamless service where people are treated in the right place, at the right time, as close as home as possible. I mean, that's an interesting forward alone from you.
Yeah.
I mean, quite damning in a way, isn't it?
No, it's not damning. I want to have an honest conversation with the people of the Isle of Man.
Fairly close thing though, wasn't it?
Very, very close. All the other candidates have worked extremely hard. They've all worked campaigned very well. It's been a very clean and tidy campaign.
Well, I think in the short term there would be a possibility of having a similar arrangement to the Channel Islands, where they have BBC Radio in Jersey and Guernsey, I think, as well. Yeah. There would be BBC Isle of Man, but we would not be able to run Manx Radio alongside it. It's not both, it would be either or.
It's an area which is now heading into the next stage of development and investigation in terms of assessing the suitability of the site for building a wind farm offshore. But alongside that, of course, it's very important that we engage meaningfully with all the stakeholders, all those who are affected potentially by this development.
These are pictures here taken tonight. It's a double-decker bus that's overturned. It's on its back. It's in the river. The bridge itself seems to have basically collapsed. And as you can see, flooded quite deep in places. In fact, there's a car sitting right in the middle there, which is obviously been abandoned because it's up to almost the top of its wheels.
I got down here about 4:30, and already it was starting to come over the wall which borders the estate, and literally within 20 minutes it was not overtopping the wall, it was actually above the wall.
The emergency services had some children in a canoe. We've got some video that someone took. Let's run this.
We rang 999 and the fire brigade very kindly came and helped us out, and after about 2.5 hours they brought like a canoe kind of thing, and we were all canoed, 20 of us were canoed out of the building.
All of a sudden some huge trees came down the river. I don't know, something must have exploded up near the mine. We've got these huge trees come down and they just blocked everything, and the river rose to a level where it come over the top and smashed in the side of the tables and chairs and the windows and the doors. Everything was smashed, and we just had to run for it.
Back in 2014, I think the island suffered potentially from a little bit too little capacity on between the Isle of Man and London, whereas this year there's been a huge growth in capacity between the Isle of Man and London, which has been particularly challenging.
The strength on this sort of vehicle is between the wheels and the top deck floor, and that's why that bit survived. The roof, really, I'm afraid, on that type of bus is just a glorified umbrella.
It's an overly complicated process. We've been working for a week now trying to establish all of the services and make sure that they're disconnected so we don't disrupt power or supplies, telecom or gas and water to the local residents.